All right, let's talk about how to color grade your Canon log footage super fast if you're in a hurry, right? I've got this video that was shot on Cinema Gamut, Canon Log 3 on my Canon R7, okay? It's low contrast, it's log footage, right? And I shot it with an anamorphic lens, so I've already de-squeezed it, I've done all of that. You don't have to worry about all of that stuff. But if we're just talking about color, right? All we're gonna do is add an adjustment layer, which I think I already have one. Get out of here. Adjustment layer, and we're gonna stretch that out to be the length of the video. And we are going to add Lumetri color, not one of the pre-designed looks, just a Lumetri color plugin, right? And I've already downloaded, but there's a link below to get to the Canon website for their Canon log profiles, whether you shot C-Log 2, C-Log 3, whether you use Cinema Gamut, they've got all the options. I shot Cinema Gamut on Canon Log 3. So once I've unzipped that, and I've got it somewhere I want, we're gonna go to the creative dropdown. Basic correction is what happens first, and then creative is added later. And this is important. If you've ever edited a raw photo in Photoshop, that's basically what happens. You bring in the raw photo, which has all of your dynamic range, it's super low contrast, and Photoshop kind of with behind the scenes, I believe, gets you into Adobe RGB or whatever your standard color space is. But then you can adjust the exposure because that's like a lower dynamic range, and it kind of slides it around your full dynamic range to get the exposure that you want, so you're not losing any data or clipping anything, right? That's exactly what's happening here. We've got our wide dynamic range video up here. Then after that, we're just going to apply this creative look to it, which is basically going to get us into the standard Rec 709. So I'm going to go to Browse, and I've got all of my LUTs unzipped here. They unzip into this Canon LUT folder. Then in the 3D LUT, the 65 grid, there's the full to full range. That's where I'm working right now. So Canon LUT, 3D LUT, 65 grid, and then full to full range. That's where you're going to find everything. There's a bunch of other options. Most of them are obsolete, are their legacy if you're using older cameras. But if you're shooting on a R5, R7, something like that, Cinema Gamut, Canon Log 3, that's the color profile that I used. And then I want to get it into 709 with wide dynamic range. So that's the lookup table I'm going to throw on this, right? And there we go. It's overexposed, but now we've got our contrast back. We've got our saturation back. So now the next thing I want to do, I did use a white card. So I'm going to scrub through until I find that white card. There it is. I put it in front of my face because that's the part I want to be white balanced correctly. So we're going to go back into basic correction now. And this is where we can do sort of all of our raw adjustments if you're used to using Photoshop. And this happens before the Rec 709 is applied. So you don't crush anything, you don't clip anything. It's just adjusting your log footage, right? So I'm going to hit white balance, and I'm going to click on the white card. Boom. So now we're white balanced to where my face is, which has a different... I've got a studio light on me, which doesn't match the lights behind me, which is why everything looks so warm now. Now that it's white balanced, I'm gonna go back and get a shot of my face. You can see how overexposed this all is, but I didn't clip anything. It was just slightly above the 50% mark. So now we can drop the exposure by I don't know, 2. How's that look? That looks pretty good. Now, if you're happy with this, you're done, right? If you it's a little bit dark, maybe minus 1.75. I don't know. This is all... You do you. I'm going to leave it at -2. If you're happy with this, then you're done. You didn't have to do any curves adjustments. You didn't have to do any saturation adjustments. You didn't have to look at your Lumetri scopes or anything. This has just got you into the basic color profile. Now, if you want to apply a LUT to actually give it an individual look, now that you're in a properly exposed Rec 709 look, you can just add another Lumetri color, go back to your creative tab, and add a look that you like. I'm a fan of these Kodak Fuji look. Gives it a little bit of the classic kind of blue in the shadows and a little bit orange in the highlights, that cinematic look. I love this look. And now you're done. There's nothing else for you to do. I didn't have to look at a scope. I didn't have to look at anything. Canon did a great job mapping their color profiles so that you didn't have to do any of the hard work. And it took me forever to figure this out after watching so many tutorials, and I don't know why it took me so long. I wanted to share this with you, so here you go. Easy peasy. You can do all the extra adjustments you want if you want to refine the look. But I mean, this got us where I'm happy just putting this on YouTube the way that it is, right? And if you want to refine that look, you can, but you've got your starting point. And if you're crunched for time, this is all you need to do. You're done. I hope this helped. Please consider subscribing, like this video if it was helpful, and stay tuned for future short films or little clips like this as I move forward.